Okay, hi everyone. I hope you had a great Shabbos. Back at it here, trying to flesh out this idea of God needs us, God needs our mitzvahs, and I got this great clip that someone sent me of Rabbi Yaron Ruvain offering sort of the typical resistance to the idea, and obviously understanding it is nuanced and sensitive. So I'm going to try to break the clip down a little bit, do as best as I can to sort of explain why everything he's saying just shows how necessary the mitzvahs are to Hashem, how necessary we are. So let's get right to it. And here we go.
Other sages elaborate on it even further, that he created the world for the sake of Am Yisrael, to be able to fulfill the mitzvot. Not because he needs it, but because it's a good thing to do. He is good, and therefore he creates good.
So he created the world for us to do mitzvahs for the sake of Am Yisrael. So obviously, right off the bat, the sake of Am Yisrael or the Jewish people affect him. He cares about it. Therefore, he's going to create a whole world and give them the mitzvahs. If he didn't care about us, then why would he create a world and give us mitzvahs? Obviously, he's after something. Even if you want to say that the mitzvahs don't matter, do we matter? He created a whole world for us to do mitzvahs. Not that he needs it. Well, how's it a kindness if he says, here, do all 613 things? Not that it's necessary to me or it affects me, but it's good for you. It's like a good self-help program. It's like yoga. It's great for you. But I'm perfect. I'm untouchable. Is that a kindness, or does that sound like someone that's trying to keep you out of their life or out of what's most important to them? Like, go run around the block, see if it's raining. I don't really care if it's raining, but it'll keep you busy and you'll get exercise. The mitzvahs, because of how important they are to God, how essential they are to him. They're his mitzvahs. Like he says about Shabbos, as Shabsoi Tishmaru, keep my Shabbos. I keep it with you. Therefore, it's a kindness when he shares it with us. Why are you sharing it with me? Me, a human being? You're sharing what's most important with you? That's important to you? That's a kindness. And even he did it out of kindness. Kindness is already part of creation. Kindness is not the essence of God. That's already an emotion. Like it says, I think in Kabbalah, that each day on Sunday, God created Chesed, Monday Gevura, Tiferes. So to do something out of kindness is already talking creation.
Unfortunately, today people think that just like you do something out of need, therefore your God also does things out of need. In essence, humanizing God, which is one of the oldest forms of idolatry that exist. Humanizing God is something that's existed in the world since the beginning of time.
Right. We can never humanize God. We can't think, well, I have a need. I need to eat. I need to sleep. And just like I have needs for these low-level needs or these handicap needs like food or sleep, God has those needs. Of course not. God doesn't have human, petty, handicap needs. God has real needs. So when we don't want to humanize God, we don't want to say, oh, his needs are just like ours. He's the real thing. He has the true, perfect thing, and we're made in his image. So from God's true, perfect need, and I could see what my needs are like, I can only imagine what his needs are not like. So when we say humanizing, we have to make sure that he's real and his needs are real, not our needs.
Unfortunately, it is very common in the world today, especially in the world of Judaism, that comes from people that call themselves Hasidim. Now, this is not something that's common in Hasidut Breslev, or Hasidut Bobov, or Hasidut Satmar, or all of the old Hasidut. This is something that's found today in Hasidut Chabad, unfortunately. Not all of Hasidut Chabad, but Hasidut Chabad that is dominated by...
Right. So these other Hasidices that he's talking about are commonly referred to as Hasidei Chagas. Chagas stands for Chesed, Gvur, Tiferes, meaning emotional. They don't necessarily delve very deeply into sort of the intellectual understanding of why God created the world and what's the purpose of creation, what's an neshama. That is commonly found typically, and for the most part, in Hasidus Chabad. Chabad stands for wisdom, understanding, and knowledge. Across the board, everyone will agree with that. That's why Chabad's called Chabad. And I don't think they claim, I don't even think on a daily basis, besides for a few svarim here and there that they sort of dabble in, they'll even take in credit and say, yeah, we think deeply about these subjects. That's why Chabad is sort of an anomaly.
By the Manish Friedmans of the world that tell you that anything that you do, you need to do it, and therefore anything that God does, He needs to do it. This is certainly a lie we have to constantly remind you about until it's removed from the world, because this is our form of defense. Now, to go back to the signature of truth, where is the signature in this verse that God created?
So, I feel the same way. What can I tell you? To say that our mitzvahs don't affect God and are not necessary and make no difference and don't change Him, you're undermining everything. So therefore you have to understand and explain. And countless of my marim in Chassidus and Chassidus Chabad break down this point, because otherwise you could get the wrong impression. Like this is all about us. Like basically we're the center of attention and we're the center of the universe. And all the mitzvahs are here to serve us and are for our benefit. Isn't that the biggest form of idol worship? How is that serving God? He did a kindness, so it's for you, and you want to get to Gan Eden, you want to get to Olam Haba, and you don't want to be punished. So who's serving who? How's that serving God? So therefore you understand, we have needs as human beings that God handicapped us with. Need for food and sleep and air and all those things. Those aren't true needs. So when we say, like in the Rambam, that God has no needs, He's not obviously talking about human needs. Don't humanize God. God has the real, ultimate, perfect need. So for example, if you ask someone, do you need food? The guy says, of course. Well, not really. You need the energy from the food. So the food is only really a means to an end. It's only for the next step. Do you need sleep? Not really. You need to be awake. Do you need a car? No, I need to be downtown. Do I need to be downtown? No, I really need a job. Do I need a job? No, I need a house. So as human beings, the needs that we have are only means to an end. You never need the thing itself. You only need the result of what it produces. Those are human handicap, low-level needs, which God does not have. But the need for mitzvahs and purpose and desire and everything we talk about in the Torah, and God says, Nachas ruach lefanai shamarta v'naseh ritzoni. You give me nachas when you do my mitzvahs. And God came down to the mountain and revealed His deepest desires. And He created a whole world for it. And He shared it with me. That's kindness. And we've made thousands of hours, literally, of classes explaining these ideas from every which angle possible. Not because we're trying to fight and not what you're trying to. Rabbi Friedman literally inspired thousands of Baal Teshuvas over the years, especially women that came to learn in Beis Chana. The whole thing doesn't make sense. To say that he's trying to do this to turn people on, and the Rebbe tried to. Mitzvahs are negein atzmas. Mitzvahs touch God's essence. You're talking about, you know what a mitzvah is? Mitzvah meloshin safsa v'chipper. It comes from connection. It's not like command, you better do it or else. No, it's trying to tell you every word of Chumash, every word of Kabbalah and Chassidus is trying to tell you what we're doing here is so important. Halacha. Halacha stands for Hariu la Hashem, kol haaretz. Lift up the whole land. So I ask you, and if someone doesn't understand this or agree with it or needs to understand it more, of course, that's what we're here for. I'm not just trying to waste time by posting these videos. Of course, it took me a long time to understand it. It's not the typical notion, because we think, oh yeah, God did it for my benefit. It's for me. He couldn't care less. And of course, once you understand it more deeply and understand how shockingly off that sounds, and why should any kid or any teenager like, oh, God wanted to do a benefit, but it doesn't make a difference to him. So the kid's like, okay, it's for my benefit. It doesn't make a difference to him. Why should I be interested? Oh, and you're supposed to give your life up in certain circumstances. So just different ideas. Respond to me in the emails, rabbiyonikatz@gmail.com. Hope to see you soon.